So I promise the entire show is not just going to be about Montreal Canadiens stuff today, but this isn't a Montreal Canadiens thing. Oh no. Nah, today we're talking about a St. Louis Blues guy. What are you talking about, boy? Okay, let's talk about Logan Mailloux and the Blues for a second, because I wanted to dive into some of the discourse that has percolated over the past day and a bit in regards to the Mailloux edition from the perspective of the St. Louis Blues. Because it's been no secret that in the Mailloux for Zach Bolduc trade that we have made a few videos about already, Montreal Canadiens fans are responding to that trade in a very positive way. Hey, the Habs got Bolduc. What a great addition. This guy can shoot, this guy can score, this guy plays snarly, he'll be an amazing addition to the Canadiens' middle six, and for the price of a guy that the Canadiens might not have been able to use anyway in Logan Mailloux, that's fine. It's cool. You can say that, okay, we're not going to do the chaperone thing, but anyways, Logan Mailloux is out of the Canadiens organization. And for the most part, I think a lot of fans would go out there and say that while it is true, Mailloux has untapped NHL potential, he has a relatively decent ceiling. The fact is, he just didn't really show off enough to fully gain the confidence of Habs fans into being a Canadian for next season. 6 points in 13 games in the Laval Rocket playoff run. Not amazing. 33 points in 63 games with the Laval Rocket in the regular season. Not amazing. 4 points in 7 games, however, with the Montreal Canadiens, which admittedly is pretty strong. The thing with Mailloux is, this was an offensive defenseman that just didn't really have that upper ceiling attained yet. You think about some of the other offensive defensemen who play maybe similarly styled games. I'm thinking of maybe a lesser Evan Bouchard type of guy, right-handed D-man with some power behind the way he shoots the puck and passes. There's a lot of untapped potential here with Mailloux. He just didn't really show off that much right away to be fully penciled into the Canadiens' 25-26 lineup. You had Noah Dobson, of course, in there, Alexandre Carrier, and then David Reinbacher was also a wild card to potentially fight for a spot, not to mention any of the left-handed guys who can play on the right. It was going to be tough for Mailloux to fully break onto the team. And so now, when you see Mailloux get traded over to St. Louis, I think a lot of fans look at the point production and they're like, okay, well, we traded Bolduc for this guy? Like, he is not really all too productive in the AHL. Bolduc was more productive as a forward in the NHL, and I get it, they're different positions, but you could kind of see the connection here. And now we're starting to see some of the response from the St. Louis Blues people themselves. And this is why I wanted to make this video, because some of these comments from the people that matter the most in the St. Louis Blues organization kind of get me scratching my head a little bit. Let's read what Armstrong said about Logan Mailloux. He is an excellent skater. He's got an excellent shot. He's learning the game from a defending standpoint, but we think he is NHL ready now. Yeah, that Evan Bouchard comparison, I will say I do think Mailloux has a lot higher upside in regards to his mobility and his footwork. I just wanted to make that clear. Evan Bouchard definitely doesn't have that as one of his strong suits. But the Blues do think that Mailloux is NHL ready now. I talked to him and I told him that he has a job now, and it's his job to come into camp and keep it. We're going to bring him in and we're going to grow with him. But we think he has the opportunity to be a top 4D. During the year, we always go in and rate prospects and where we have him, and he's always been in an area where we felt he's a top 4 talented NHL defenseman, and maybe a little bit higher. And time is going to tell our scouting skills. This guy is already being super highly evaluated by the St. Louis Blues. And I'm not going to necessarily say that I doubt it, but he was a first-round pick. There is a chance that the Ryan McDonough, Mikhail Sergachev story happens one more time here. It's just, at this very moment in time, I don't know, man. I don't know if I fully believe that. Does he have the potential to be a top 4 D-man? Yeah, I guess a lot of defensemen do. But the way they're talking about it right now, okay, excellent skater, good shot, NHL ready today, Maybe that's stretching it a little bit much. I don't know. I don't know. That's just my prerogative to go out there and say what I want. You can have your own prerogative to say what it is that you want. Some of the replies are going out there and saying, oh yeah, Bolduc had an excellent shot. Mailloux is garbage. Y'all got fleeced. They're sorely mistaken if they think he's NHL ready. Journalist Gagnon and his clique have been trashing Mailloux since day one while completely ignoring his accomplishments in his 2 years in the AHL. Habs fans swallowed it all like fools. I mean, this guy made a bunch of tweets. The Habs made a mistake with this trade. They'll be the softest team in the NHL. Not with Zach Bolduc, they won't. You think that guy is soft? Hell nah. Let's go out there and look at some other commentary made by St. Louis Blues people. Jim Montgomery said this about Mailloux. This is a guy that probably goes top 10 in the draft. And he straight up says that on this video interview that was posted about. And, you know, I'm not going to go out there and fully dissuade it, but let's read some of these other comments. No, sorry, Mailloux does not make the top 10 in a redraft. Good thing nobody's talking about a redraft. I don't think he does, Alex says, but I'm not going to come out here and deny that there is untapped potential. Offensively, he can look amazing, but defensively, it can be rough. He also sometimes makes some weird plays, though, but definitely some potential there. I'm not here to crap on Mailloux, Kathy said. As a Habs fan, I'm happy about the trade. I hope he does become an NHLD, and I wish him all the best. But this is taking people for fools. Without even pulling up that draft year to look at every round. Nice, Power, Beniers, Stankoven, Zellweger, Luke Hughes, McTavish, Genther, Johnson, Johnston. That's already a better top 10, and I'm leaving many out. This is, of course, the assessment that people are arguing with. Maybe I'm biased, Habs fan says, but I'm taking more than 10 guys from 2021 before Logan Mailloux in a redraft. Between Wyatt Johnston, Beniers, a lot of these other guys, William Eklund is in there, Giannis Moser, Matthew Coronado. Look, top 10 in a redraft? Top 10 in the draft? As quoted by Jim Montgomery on Logan Mailloux? I don't know about that, man. Like, you can be high on the guy, you could think about his potential, but like, top 10? Top 10. I know some of these guys had slowed down a little bit over the years. Cole Sillinger had a hot start to his NHL career. He's still trying to find his footing to get back up to that level. But think about this, man. Logan Stankoven just signed a big 8-year extension. Zach Bolduc was taken in the same draft. I guess the St. Louis Blues evaluate Mailloux higher than Bolduc if they're willing to make that deal. Brant Clark is a D-man. Edvinson's a D-man. Riker Evans has played a bunch of NHL games already. Olin Zellweger was a top guy earlier in junior. Owen Power was the top guy in the draft. I mean, there are a number of players here who I think should be considered over Mailloux in a redraft. So, just looking at how high the St. Louis Blues are on this player, I'm not saying they're fools for thinking about him as highly as they do, but some of these comments don't really sit right, and I think it's getting kind of weird, so I don't know. St. Louis Blues fans, please don't hate me too much, but I wanted to get some discourse going on the perspective and where y'all are sitting there thinking about this player, because I do think there is some misalignment with how Canadiens fans and the Canadiens themselves were thinking about this player. So, thoughts in the comment section below about Logan Mailloux and his entire development profile, what he has done so far, and where you see him going. Does he have top 10 potential to be in that category in a redraft, or is this guy just kind of going to max out as maybe a second power play unit, 20-point defenseman at the NHL level who has some more to give? I do think that there's more potential than that, but I don't know if he's a top 10 guy in a redraft. That's just my opinion here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.